I think it's interesting how many people now are talking about illegal immigration and the need for border control. It used to be something that unless you were a right winger or you were firmly entrenched in like the Trump camp, it used to be something that a lot of people felt trepidation about speaking against publicly because it was considered racist. It's racist to not want to allow everyone into this country who wants to get into this country. That's the thinking among a number of people, and so I think there was a lot of fear for a while, especially among bigger names, influential names. Unless we were talking about on the right, or unless we were talking about Trump, there was a lot of fear about talking about this subject, and particularly then after it got tied to Trump because it was such a big component of his campaign. And it may have really worked in some quarters. Obviously, he got elected in 2016, but it also turned a number of people off of the idea that illegal immigration is a problem and that border control needs attention because they were so turned off by Trump. And so my point is that I see an interesting sea change here in that it seems like big names like Elon Musk feel finally a lot more comfortable in really coming out hard about this subject of border control, and there are people like Greg Abbott, and other politicians, and the politicians who've sided with him, and even the FBI. I saw on Twitter X today some big names in the FBI have released a letter officially calling on the federal government to do a better job of protecting our borders. And so my point is that there's a sea change where now you have all of these entities and all these people that feel comfortable really speaking out in a powerful way about this as a problem. And they're not immediately being shouted down as small minded racist, like I feel like was happening a lot more in the past and several years ago, in a more woke period. And I live in Texas. I've lived here most of my life. And like I said, like I've said before, people in Texas have been aware of this illegal immigration and the need for better border control, have been aware of this problem for a long time. Um, but I've been aware of this, but when I went to grad school and joined academia, I was around a lot of very left leaning, generally left leaning people. And so many of them just automatically equated a desire for immigration control and a concern about illegal immigration and automatically equated it to racism. And it was the prevailing attitude was this kind of very humanistic idea, universalist idea of we are all one, and so why do we need borders differentiating between us if we're all one and we're all the same, etc. And what I would always say to these people, because I would get into debates with them not infrequently, depending on how well we knew each other. But I would get into debates with them about this at times, those I felt comfortable speaking freely with about this. And the question that always seemed to get them stuck, that where I could really, I think, sort of make a little headway just a bit in explaining to them on a fundamental gut level why unfettered immigration is a problem and why we need border control, is well, this is what I would say to them. Why do you lock your doors at night in your house? Why? Why do you lock your doors at night? Why do you not allow anyone who wants to come into your house? If we're all humanity and we're all the same and we're all one big, happy family, so to speak, then why? And yeah, they would eventually come up with a reason. They would kind of, but not before there was a period of sort of choking on it a little bit and being like, well, and it's different. It's different, but it's really not, because we don't let everyone who wants to come into our house come into our homes, and we lock our doors because we know that there are elements outside. No, not everybody, not all of humanity, but there are elements outside, unpredictable elements outside, that if they were allowed into our house, they would harm us or they would wreak havoc on our homes in various ways. And also, we understand that we have limited resources, and that if we were to allow people unfettered access to our homes, then guess what? All of our shit would be gone very quickly. And that is not a sustainable dynamic. Maybe in the afterlife, maybe in heaven, maybe in paradise, where everyone behaves according to higher principles. Maybe something like that would work. But there's a reason why, in this oftentimes horrific, shitty, fallen world, there's a reason why we can't just open ourselves up to everyone. And you have the FBI now, the major players in the FBI, begging the federal government to intervene because they say now that there are so many illegal immigrants that are coming over the borders that are not the stereotype of your Latino neighbor who just wants to work here and provide for his or her family and follow the rules and all of that, which is the stereotype that we think about. And yes, there are many like that, and I have friends like that. We're talking now about people from, first of all, maybe not even Mexico. There are tons, and this is what the letter was getting at, the FBI letter, that there are tons, and Elon Musk has been talking about this, there are tons and tons of immigrants. And I've seen some statistics indicating it's a majority now of illegal immigrants, I should say, that are not from Mexico. And as the FBI pointed out, a number of them on the terrorist watch list, they're being completely unvetted. I see articles about now tuberculosis and leprosy and diseases like this that we had eradicated in this country now coming through. And no, I'm not afraid of some giant, leprosy outbreak. But I'm just saying that and this is what Elon Musk is saying, this is what others are saying, is that it does have an effect on your society what elements you let into it. And I'm not talking about a racial thing, okay? I'm talking about, and I could be talking about a cultural thing. We're talking about certain cultures, for instance, that don't have respect for women and the problems that, for instance, Europe has faced and the dramatic rise in sexual assaults, letting so many migrants from misogynist cultures into their countries. But I'm not even talking about that, although that is a problem. I'm just saying that we have no way of vetting who is coming over the border, and so we could have, and we do have, tons of criminals as well. We have this thing that is going on with the cartels, and this is an issue in Mexico, but also other countries similarly. But the thing that is going on with the cartels in Mexico, it is astounding. I read the Daily Mail, which I know is a horrible example of journalism, but I read it just to get a sense, okay, what are the main stories that people are talking about today? And I don't even have to actually read the articles. I could just tell you that just every day as I'm perusing the Daily Mail, I see all these stories about horrible things being done by the cartels. Horrible, horrible things. And they are running the country. They're running Mexico. So we have this and it doesn't matter how great the actual people are, right? I mean, we're not talking just about people as a whole, or Mexicans as a whole, or foreigners as a whole. We're talking about that there are certain radical or dangerous elements in all these societies, and because we don't have border control, and because people are not going through many people are not going through the proper vetting processes, then we just have no idea who we're letting into our country. Like, it is such a no-brainer that I guess I'm just astounded that there are intelligent, and I hate to say this, it sounds condescending, but I just really am. I'm astounded that there are intelligent people who don't think that we need any border control and don't think that we should be concerned about who's coming into our country. Why are you locking your doors then? Why do you lock your doors at night? Why are you not throwing open your homes to anyone who wants to come in? Answer me that question.